The Dekalb County John Doe, identified as Rainbow King. We begin today in Hendrixville, Alabama. This is one I covered in the past as an unidentified doe, and there's something about this story that is compelling and heartbreaking, or at least to me it is. It starts in Dekalb County in December of 1991. It was here a man was found in a wooded area by a hunter. He'd been there several months, and let's just say he was suspended from a tree. They examined him, and they would come to believe he was a white male around 18 to 25 and around 6 foot tall or 182 centimeters. He didn't fit any local missing person reports, and there were no clues as to his identity. That is, until the police realized that in the same spot, an abandoned 1982 blue Ford Escort with North Dakota plates had been towed. That car ended up in a garage in Collinsville, but it was just sitting in storage because no one had ever reported the car missing, and they had no idea it was identified in this case. So it was a big save to find this. They had likely expected whoever owned the car, that would lead to his name, but it didn't quite work out that way. They would search the vehicle and try to trace the car to identify the man. The contents of the car, however, just inspired new questions and no real answers. As I mentioned, the car had North Dakota license plates, and inside there was a Pizza Hut receipt from 1991 and a handwritten number for the St. Benedictine's Abbey. Additionally, there were 2 birth certificates inside for Washington State. Alarmingly, though, one was blank, and the other had the name Damon Hunter written on it. Quickly realizing this name appeared to be an alias. And not surprisingly, the car itself had been registered under that name, Damon Hunter. And there were receipts showing that he had stayed at the Hotel Donaldson in Fargo, North Dakota, but they found no indication why he would drive all the way from North Dakota to Alabama. The fact that he wasn't from the area just made the mystery that much bigger, and of course that he wasn't using his real name. And then there was a note in the car, and the note was pretty disturbing. The note itself was full of threats, suggesting that the note writer had been involved in a robbery or had planned to be. The note read, "I have a gun. If the cops come, I will kill everyone here, then myself. Put all the 50s, 20s, and 10s with this note quickly and calmly." And then, of course, there was a phone number in the car for the monastery. Someone would call St. Benedictine's Abbey, which is located in Atchison, Kansas. The abbey was founded in the mid-1800s and houses Benedictine monks who have dedicated their lives to God and education in the area. Meaning our John Doe was possibly Catholic and was the only lead they had left. The monastery did remember a call that stood out, and they believed it may have been him. The man had called to receive counsel, as he was feeling desperate and needed to speak to someone. He would share with that person that he had received some threats of harm involving money that he owed someone, and that person had also threatened his family. He admitted to feeling really desperate, that he had been considering robbery or other crimes to pay off his debts, but it wasn't something that he wanted to do. And despite his admission, it appears there's no indication this man ever did anything illegal. This case would finally get a break in late 2022, when a woman named Olivia McCarter, who was a genealogy analyst with the Mobile County Sheriff's Office, would place a call about this specific John Doe here that we're covering today. And it was a case that had long interested her also. She would ask them if they wanted to use genetic genealogy to identify him, and they agreed. In addition to working with the Sheriff's Office, McCarter is the co-owner of Moxie Forensics, which has of course been behind several cases that we've covered here. The 22-year-old genealogist would do something pretty cool. She used her graduation funds to provide half of the cost for this case, and Intermountain Forensics offered the rest of the lab work pro bono. It was a difficult process, though, and a true tribute to the advances that have been made. The bones in this case were really degraded. They were only able to successfully extract 6 cells, and this was from one of his molars. It's one of the smallest samples ever used for genetic genealogy, and amazingly, it paid off. They would upload it to GEDmatch, and it took no time to do the investigation, as they immediately hit a pretty close match. It would turn out that Rainbow Canyon King was only 22 when he passed. Rainbow had left behind a couple of clues. He used his parents' real first names on the fake birth certificate, as well as his own real date of birth. The authorities have released that his mother is still living and finally has some sort of resolution. Rainbow himself was last known to be living in Tompkinsville, Kentucky. Why he was in North Dakota is unknown. He was found 225 miles, or 362 kilometers from home. If you are located in the U.S. and you feel depressed and need to speak to someone, please dial 988. It will transfer you to the closest helpline in your area. There is no shame in asking for help. Rainbow Canyon King went unidentified for 32 years. Had he lived, he would be 54 years old today. The San Juan Capistrano John Doe, identified as Donald Loar. A research biologist was working in a remote area of southeastern Orange, California in August of 1998. This is listed in some articles as being located in San Juan Capistrano, California, and this was in August of 1998. The biologist would accidentally find what appeared to be a shallow grave, eventually confirming remains were inside. He was wearing a Barco windbreaker and a High Sierra shirt as well as Lee brand jeans. He had in his pocket a Locus Amigo brand calling card. For anyone on the younger end, this wouldn't have been unusual for that time. Back in the 1990s, calling long distance cost a lot of money sometimes, often from town to town, even in-state. And most people didn't have cell phones yet. Because of the name on the calling card, they thought maybe he was not from the United States. In 1998, that could have been an enormous barrier to identification. But in 2024, that's not the case, thanks to DNA. It would take Othram Labs to identify our John Doe as a 53-year-old man named Donald Loar. Donald was last seen in Bellflower, California, where he lived. We know he was reported missing 6 months before the unidentified remains were found, about an hour's drive away from where he lived. They were unable to determine the COD, but given he didn't bury himself in an isolated area, it's safe to say there's probably more to the story, and the police need tips in order to learn more about who may have done this. I provided a number on the screen. Donald Raymond Loar was found 50 miles or 80 kilometers away from where he went missing. He went unidentified for 25 years. Had he lived, he would be 78 years old today. Huge thanks for watching all the way to the end, and a big thanks to all of you who consistently like and comment on the videos. Whether you leave a full comment or an emoji, it makes a huge difference. So if you consistently watch my videos, maybe take a moment to subscribe. It's a huge push toward the videos being suggested to new people. The next goal is 20,000. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other.